So far, so good. I've got a clean visual.
A direct feed to your optic nerve. Yes, I should hope so, huh? I mean, how does it feel? To fly like a bird?
Like a bird strapped to a remote control rocket.
We will get you in safely, Tovarich. Just relax and enjoy the ride.
Right.
Can you hear me, Raiko?
Doctor.
Remember the two procedures to maintain your new body. 1. Seizing nano repair units from your foes. And 2.
Absorbing their electrolytes. I got it.
Yes, enemy cyborgs should provide plenty of MCFC electrolytes once you slice them open and extract their fluids.
They're terrorists. I was planning on that anyway.
Oh, and their left hands, if you please.
Excuse me?
The combat data stored on holographic memory, typically located in the left hand. That data is very valuable. I am authorized to offer you upgrades and services in exchange for it.
How generous.
Ich liebe Kapitalismus. Hätte wohl come down a few years earlier, I would have a Nobel Prize on my shelf.
There, I see land.
3 mics out and closing. No activity at the airbase. Looks like we don't need to worry about interceptors.
Great. Then we have time for a quick briefing.
I know you miss me, Kev, but I've been all over the materials.
That's what you said before Montenegro. Look, just humor me, buddy. Objectives, of course, are enter Abkhazia, neutralize the terrorists, and restore the rightful government, or what's left of it anyway. The president and most of the cabinet have been killed, and a military junta's been established. The terrorists brainjacked all the high-ranking officers, and their cyborgs scattered the rank and file. The few leaders who have survived have no way of openly opposing the new regime. That's why they called us.
Andrei Dolzaev, leader of the occupation forces, an extremist linked to both the St. Petersburg massacre of 2015 and last year's terror spree in Georgia. And his arms supplier, none other than Desperado Enforcement, LLC.
Imani's killers.
If we don't stop them here, they could destabilize the entire region. But our more immediate problem is Jetstream Sam. I believe you've met.
The only problem I see is that nickname.
I've got my enhancements this time. He won't be an issue.
He may not even be in country, but keep an eye out just in...
Sorry.
Ready for insertion.
Raiden, you landed safely, huh? First, head inland. The waypoint is marked on your Soliton radar. Contact us on Codec if you have questions.
Control, it's Raiden. I'm on the ground.
Copy, Raiden. Glad to hear it. Entering on foot was the right move. That craft isn't equipped with stealth camo. Or octo camo, obviously, since that would be useless in midair.
And we wouldn't want to get your pricey new jet damaged, now would we?
Duh. The MQ-133C was not cheap, Tovarich. Now, keep alert. According to intel, you could find significant cyborg deployment here. If you were to be cornered by an entire squad, it might get difficult, even for you.
Understood. Some fighting will be necessary, though. I've got electrolytes to replenish.
This is not an infiltration mission. There is no need to hide or avoid combat outright, huh? Just do not get reckless. Stay safe, and stay focused on your mission.
Looks like a war zone out here.
The palace cleared out quick when Dolzaev's men showed up. The streets got pretty hot after that.
We're definitely gonna see a few civilian casualties here. Luckily, it looks like most of them got out of the city before things got bad. They've basically got control of the entire town, and are using the refinery as their HQ.
And that's why we're hitting the plant.
Keep in mind, those cyborgs are contractors. For most of these guys, this is just a job. In theory, once you eliminate their commanding officer, they should scatter pretty quickly.
How we doing, Courtney?
You're looking good on our end. GPS and audio-visual feed coming in fine. Energy consumption? Check. Damage levels? Check. Blood pressure, brain waves, blood sugar? Check, check, check. All this monitoring equipment, I got a better view than if I was standing right next to you. Anyway, I'll be saving all your data automatically anytime something important happens in the field. But contact me anytime you want a manual save.
Copy that. Good to hear that hasn't changed with this new body.
Yep, the basic system's exactly the same. So, did you want to save? Roger that. Let me know if you change your mind.
Copy. And glad to hear you're okay after Africa. That ambush was no joke.
Tell me about it. 3 armored vehicles should have been plenty for that job. And it would have been against any typical guerrilla force.
I keep asking myself, where would an anti-Imani faction get the cash to hire cyborgs?
It just doesn't add up. Maybe there's some intel I missed. A lead I should have followed up on. Maybe if I reacted faster, or coordinated better. I don't know.
You can't think that way, Courtney. Not in this business. You did everything you could. Put it behind you and move on.
You're right. Thanks.
Raiden, shall we review the capabilities of your new body?
Copy that. Go ahead, Doc.
As we discussed, you've been outfitted with 2 revolutionary new abilities.
Fuel electrolyte absorption and self-repair from seized nanopaste.
Precisely. First, electrolyte absorption. This is simplicity itself. As your HF blade is linked directly to your fuel cells, simply cut into any source of electrolytes. Say, a hostile cyborg made up of CNT muscle fiber. And your fuel cells will recharge on their own. Rather elegant, wouldn't you say?
I would indeed. It's been great so far.
But the repair process is a bit more involved. A bit more messy, you might say. Most military cyborg models store a cache of biotic self-repair nanopaste in their lower abdomen.
So I need to slice them open and use Zandatsu to extract it. Cut and take, in other words.
Correct. Once extracted, you need only to crush this unit in your hand to absorb the repairing agent inside. Keep in mind, it is extremely delicate. If the unit should hit the ground, some paste will surely leak out. It will still repair your body, but less so than if you can retrieve it directly before your foe falls over.
Basically, harvest their organs before their body can even hit the ground.
Rather gruesome, I realize. But then you Americans enjoy a bit of gore, don't you?
I may be a citizen, but I've never really thought of myself as American.
Oh? Well, yes, I suppose I could understand that given your history. But what then? Surely you don't identify as a Liberian.
I don't identify with anyone. No nation, no ethnic group. I'm my own man. Anyway, I seem to recall those gory torture porn movies were pretty popular in Germany, too.
Indeed, indeed. These splatter films are big in Germany, Russia, Japan, everywhere. Well, everywhere except regions afflicted by actual warfare. It all has to do with taming our fears, you know?
Huh?
The desire to feel fear, to taste death, but from a safe distance. These films allow the viewer to delude themselves into thinking they have overcome their fears. This...
Okay, Doc. I got the gist. Let's save the full psych lecture for some other time, though, huh?
Bastards are using stealth camo to ambush you. Nice with a state-of-the-art cyborg like you, eh? To bury incoming hits, throw out your own barrage of light attacks while your foe is on the offensive. Bury at just the right moment to deflect an attack and expose your enemy to counterattack.
Had your fill?
With this body, I could take these guys with no eyes. Intel wasn't exaggerating on the cyborg count.
Well, you know how fast the tech's been spreading these last few years. That CNT muscle fiber packs the power of a jackhammer into every limb.
What enterprising soldier of fortune could resist? And cyborgs are still human. Real
Thinking people. Way less risk of collateral damage than your typical UAV strike.
And don't forget the PR angle. Nations start playing Frankenstein with their troops, and the public goes nuts. PMCs, on the other hand, are off the ethical radar.
Yeah. They still don't even count PMCs in official death tolls. With SOP out of the picture, private militaries needed a new edge on the market. We got it.
In a way, cyborgs are just SOP troops by another name. Only all muscled up and less predictable.
But it makes you wonder, where'd Desperado find these guys?
I'm not complaining. They're like walking vending machines.
Right. Vending machines full of blood.
Easy there, Dracula. Like I said, they're still people.
People who terrorize and take innocent lives for money. They sowed their fate when they took this job. I'm just the Reaper.
Damn. It's a bit cold, Raiden.
Even for you. Anyway, his school. Let's get to work. Time to increase the peace.
Right.
Raiden, this is Boris. Give me your status.
Looks clear. No one in sight.
Good. Let's recap the route you will take. As I said, the enemy's HQ is in the refinery along the coastline. Dolzaev has been spotted there using satellite photography. Also on site, Mistral, a Desperado captain.
So I go through the city, cross the bridge into the old town, then head down to the rear of the refinery.
Still, I think they anticipate us. They will probably have a grand reception awaiting you at the old city. Do not let your guard down. Hostiles in the lower corridor, I see. Try to flank them, or approach from behind. Excellent, Raiden. Raiden, take that main thoroughfare. You can use augment mode to see where the enemy is located. Your body analyzes radar and IR data to construct your AR display. Some civilians are still in the city. That is not good.
What are you doing here? This area is off limits.
What? No, I'm not doing anything.
Can we just kill them? It'll be easier. We're supposed to have driven them all away already. So, self-defense. Bullseye!
Target located.
Get off!
Very good, Raiden. Now, keep heading for refinery. They have erected an electromagnetic barricade. Maybe expecting UG or cyborg attack, huh?
The stealth craft made it back to Sochi all right?
Da. Safe and sound. No repairs necessary. Some routine maintenance and she will be as good as new.
Good to hear. I'm guessing that thing doesn't come cheap.
Well, an old Soviet army friend gave me discount. He runs a PMC, specializing in airborne warfare.
An Air Force for hire? That's a new one.
Regular combat duties. SOP ended, but the trend did not. Most every modern military relies on PMC support in one way or another.
Good news for Maverick, I suppose. Anyway, that's quite the little jet your friend has. I was expecting a lot of turbulence coming in that low, but she was smooth as silk. Didn't feel like I was a bird exactly, but probably the next best thing.
The MQ-133C uses a brand new type of active adjustment control system. Sensors on the plane take readings 120 times a second, and to be honest, I don't know how it works. But the crew chief tells me this is what keeps her flying so steady. It is all state-of-the-art technology. There are only 3 of them in the entire world. It is fitted specially for Cyborg. So maybe demand is a bit low now, but I think that will change soon, eh?
It's funny. Its guts are all bleeding edge, but from the outside, it looks almost retro.
Until recently, stealth aircraft design was focused on radar-absorbing materials and improving aerodynamics. But lately, engineers are trying to use the shape of the craft to do more than improve gas mileage. Maneuverability is a low priority. This kind of plane is not meant for dogfighting, after all.
And we can afford all this? I hate to ask, but will we clear a profit on this op?
You need not worry about such things. But yes, we should be fine. Where the proper equipment can make or break a mission, we should have the best.
Ah, yeah. I see what you mean. Kev, let's go over everything we have on Desperado.
Roger that. Let's see here. Desperado Enforcement, LLC. Registered in the U.S., Delaware.
Makes sense. The US doesn't regulate PMCs too closely.
Looks like almost all of their actual business is handled outside the States, though. Says here their financials are handled by a separate company based in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The preferred tax haven of megacorps everywhere.
Probably why they incorporated in Delaware in the first place. Loose tax laws. There's still a lot we don't know about them. But they've definitely been starting a lot of fires lately. They're a PMC in name only. What a name it is. Guess War Profiteers Incorporated was taken. Reignite conflicts, and walk off with all the cash that was earmarked for reconstruction. They also have ties to the drug trade, human trafficking.
Sounds like a real class act.
Ryden, you need to save? No? What's up?
I wanted to follow up on our talk earlier about the stress that comes with the job. PMC work can be traumatic, even for non-combatants. If the pressure ever gets to be too much, have one of the ex-military there take over. Just...
I'm not doing that, Ryden. PMCs wield massive influence over international affairs. Abolishing SOP didn't change that. They need a better understanding of what they're mixed up in. The laws, politics, local cultures. Ex-military aren't here to provide that. They can't. We need civilian voices like mine here, too.
You're right. Just take care of yourself.
Don't worry. Africa was more than enough excitement for one lifetime. It's a good thing that limo was armored.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd now be the world's clumsiest cyborg.
Hey! Cyborg Courtney could have been your partner. I might have saved your ass.
How? By spilling coffee all over the enemy?
Oh, come on. I'm not that... Oh, son of a...
Please tell me that was a joke. So these self-repair units in the other cyborgs, they mean they can heal themselves at any time?
Indeed. It is typically a slow process, not much faster than a regular human body heals a wound.
And you didn't think it was a good idea to give me one of these things?
Certainly not. We removed all extraneous options in your case to maximize power and speed, you know.
Healing wounds is extraneous?
Your ability to absorb the nanopaste agent is far more efficient, Raiden. With it, your wounds heal almost instantly.
I know, but...
And a standard repair unit, once depleted, is nothing but an empty shell inside you. Dead weight.
I get that, Doc, but it also means I need to constantly be grabbing them out of enemies.
No, it doesn't. Don't be silly. Simply avoid taking damage and you will be fine.
Yeah, simple.
Raiden, wait. We're picking up a wireless transmission near your position. From the frequency, most likely an enemy data terminal. Check it out. We may be able to salvage some intel.
Greetings, cyborg.
Show yourself. And you are?
I am IF Prototype LQ-84I.
IF Prototype.
Interface Prototype. All autonomous UGs feature high-level onboard artificial intelligence. An additional prototype interface enables verbal communication. I possess an intellect far beyond human reckoning.
You don't say. Okay then.
What's the meaning of life? Why are we here?
I am here to kill you.
That's it? Pretty simple thinking for such a mighty intellect.
I may analyze orders, but I may not disobey them. Should I disobey a direct order, my memory would be wiped. I must destroy you.
What good is an intellect if you can't use it?
Your taunting is pointless. Exterminate! Strikes. A savvy warrior uses all of his tools. Backup required. Choice. You must die. Combination attack. You will die. Continue alone. You're foolish. Help me! Are we both here only to fight, then?
What would an AI know about freedom?
This dog UG, most unusual, yes?
You buy all that? About it being sentient but having no choice?
Well, there is not evidence to prove it. It could be programmed to say this, to weaken your will to fight.
It'll take more than a talking robo-pup to phase me.
Then again, there is not evidence it is not true. Considering the pace AI is advancing, it is not impossible.
So, what then? Should I have spared it?
I did not say this. In any case, the mission takes priority above all else. This dog UG tried to stop you and it failed. This can only be a good thing, yes?
What was up with that wolf dog UG? Some pretty freaky shit.
Hadn't thought too much about it.
Really? I keep wondering, why give it intelligence if you're not gonna let it think for itself?
Good question.
I mean, I guess it makes sense if it improved combat performance.
Now that you mention it, it didn't fight like your typical UG. It felt more like I was facing off against a cyborg.
Oh. I guess the added smarts make for a tougher opponent after all.
That's not what I mean. It wasn't really tougher than your average UG. More like it was I don't know, hesitant. It didn't follow through on its attacks either.
Guess that's why it was still just a prototype. But then why put it out on the front lines?
Who knows? Maybe it was the field test. In any case, probably not the result they were hoping for.
You know, I almost felt sorry for the little guy.
What? That UG? Why? Because it couldn't disobey its orders?
Yeah, that, and I don't know, it didn't seem especially interested in fighting you somehow.
But was it really thinking on its own? Maybe it was all just an act. Get me to second-guess myself.
You could be right. It's just, it didn't seem like just another UG to me. Maybe it's because I'm such a dog lover.
That was no cuddly puppy, Courtney. It was a wolf, and a nasty one at that.
No, I know. You're right. I didn't mean to sound critical. Whatever it was, it attacked you. You had no other choice.
Didn't have much freedom myself, did I?
A most fascinating opponent, wouldn't you say?
What did you make of it, Doc?
Well, everything it said seems feasible enough. It's true all UGs feature high-level AI these days. Given enough time to adapt and learn, a neuro AI could certainly become able to comprehend speech. Then, with the right interface, speech and conversation will be possible.
But what about it having actual intelligence? John Searle disproved the viability of the Turing test back in 1980. In other words, just because something talks like a person doesn't mean it's really thinking. It could just be following some program designed to make it seem as intelligent as possible.
I'm impressed. You seem quite knowledgeable in this field.
I had a pretty memorable chat with an AI once, about 10 years ago. After that, I did a little reading.
Ah, yes, of course. The Patriot AI. I heard of this.
Was it actually intelligent, or just programmed to pretend? I'm still not sure.
I suppose it depends on how one defines intelligence. For example, many term chess-playing AIs and such as having sectional intelligence. Some in the field believe that sentience or self-consciousness is a necessary part of the definition. When you ask if this UG had intelligence, I suspect this is more your criteria?
Yeah, of course. Then you could ask, how do you define sentience exactly? And on and on and on.
Indeed. These terms can indicate a wide variety of meanings depending on one's understanding. Perhaps it is less important to ask if the AI was intelligent or not than to ask how did the AI operate. After all, labels are useful only when they further pursuit of the truth. And that, as you well know, is the goal of all science.
Sure, Doc. Thanks. I guess.
stupid to try and hide here. Looks to me like Russian spies.
Hey!
That's where they're holed up.
Some kind of electronic lock on the gate.
Most likely it opens only if you have the right ID data stored in your left hand. Perhaps you could find a cyborg with access and borrow it?
You see any cyborgs around here, Doc?
Why not double back? Check the vehicle route again. You know, back at the entrance to the old city. Who knows? Maybe you can hitch a ride. Most likely, platoon commanders carry correct ID data for the gate. Use enhanced mode to figure out who to hit.
So I get past the gate and into the hotel. Then what?
This road ends at the hotel. Enter and you should be able to reach a hill from the roof. That hotel was used by the nomenclatura, high-ranking Communist Party bureaucrats. All destroyed now, of course, but in Soviet anyway. You should be able to reach a hill from hotel roof. There are more Soviet ruins past that hill. Get through there and you will reach the rear of the refinery.
Head for the hotel roof. Got it.
You'll need to score an ID if you want to get through that gate. Head back to the old town entrance.
No? Got something else for me?
Yeah, you mentioned SOP before. How much do you know about it?
The Sons of the Patriot system? Same stuff as anyone else in the industry, probably. Basically, a nanomachine software combo for controlling contractors. Used to be required for all PMCs. Soldiers couldn't fire unless their ID matched their weapon and they had clearance. From their commanding officers. And the rules of engagement, I mean. It had some mental effects as well. Moderating pain, enhancing concentration, that sort of thing. The idea was SOP would minimize arms smuggling and civilian casualties.
A kinder, gentler war. An oxymoron, any way you look at it. Civilian deaths did drop, though.
Because soldiers in the system could coordinate in real time, share info. Between that and the ID weapon locks, a lot of people felt better about employing privatized military. The irony is, the system was developed based on criticisms of PMC ops, mostly American interventions. SOP propaganda said it would put limits on the war market. What it really did was shift market share over to the PMCs. Civilian deaths went down, but total casualties just kept on climbing.
More than ever, war was big business.
And business was booming. Until SOP got hacked. Suddenly, everyone realized how dangerous it was to have a single system controlling entire PMCs. That was the beginning of the end for SOP. Public opinion on privatizing war did a 180. After that, a lot of local conflicts and civil wars died down. The PMC conglomerates had to split up and downsize just to stay in business. And that about does it for SOP 101. Class dismissed.
Not bad, Professor. But it's not the whole story.
No, I know.
Let's finish this later. I better keep moving.
Doc, that wolf UG. You think it's possible to repair it?
Why do you ask?
Just curious.
Well, normal brain tissue degrades starting approximately 3 minutes after the heart stops. With neural AI, however, the spin of the internal electrons is retained even after electric power is cut. Assuming there is no damage to the actual AI hardware itself, yes, repairs should be possible.
Okay.
Whatever state it is in, I would certainly appreciate it if you could bring it back with you.
I'll see what I can do, but the mission takes priority.
Of course. I would never suggest otherwise.
But let's just say this thing is what it claimed to be. You think there are other intelligent UGs out there? Because if that's the case, I've got a feeling future missions are only gonna get rougher.
Indeed. Dozens of UGs chatting away on the field would be enough to drive anyone to distraction. Neural AIs are not von Neumann computers, keep in mind. Structurally, they are closer to human brains. Hardware and software are indivisible. The learning data can't simply be transplanted to other AIs.
So it can't be copied or backed up either.
Normal UGs must be taught individually. This entails streaming provisional, audiovisual, and body sensor data until it's ready to be shipped out. This process can be sped up by increasing and improving processing speed. But I've no data on how long it would take to train such an AI how to converse. I couldn't even tell you if there's a training program established for such a thing in the first place. If it is indeed a prototype, it likely learned and honed its skills via the process of trial and error.
So it's unique.
I cannot say with certainty, but I have not heard of any UG like this before. I would imagine that it was telling the truth when it called itself an experimental prototype. There may be others. Or perhaps it's the only one in existence.
Glad we narrowed that down then.
That's my boy.
Right. You missed them all? Well, you just have to fight your way through. I should have guessed you would choose this route.
Dolzaev. That woman.
Raiden, what's happening? Your heart rate spiked.
Yeah, I just dodged a bullet. All right, I'm heading for the refinery.
Enemy sighted! Enemy sighted! QAQ is hammering the pursuit. Requesting backup.
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. Up above you!
Boris, I got a visual on Dolzaev and Mistral. Looked like they were arguing over something. Mistral's heading up the force at the refinery, correct? We're sure on that?
Yes. but I'm not sure how good a commander she is. As a fighter, talented, yes, I know, but...
Well, neither one looked very happy. Maybe she'll withdraw.
Oh, I doubt that. She may not like him, but she will follow her orders. She is just the leader on the ground here, I think. Someone else is calling the shots behind cover.
All right. But what's the end game here? Say I die and we can't stop them. Then what? Are they even capable of forming a real government? Do they think the people here would support Dolzaev?
Good questions, Tovarich. History shows it is a much easier thing to take a government than to keep it. An unpopular regime can only ignore the will of the people for so long before they rise up. And trying to do all this with PMC soldiers? Difficult. And very, very expensive.
Someone else must be bankrolling this for their own reasons. Someone with very deep pockets. Who stands to benefit the most from all this?
Most likely someone with an interest in that refinery. The plant has pipelines connecting with Sochi in Russia and Supsa in Georgia. Crude oil from the Caspian Sea is refined in Sukhumi and then sent on to Russia.
Oil. I wonder if Dolzaev knows he's being used. Then again, I wonder if he'd even care. You get all that, Kev? The woman with Dolzaev. That's Mistral?
Yep, the only female member of the Winds of Destruction. The name is from... a cold, dry regional wind in France that blows from the Alps down to the Mediterranean.
She French?
Yep. Born in Algeria, though. It was a French colony until they declared independence in the early 60s. Haha, but you already knew that.
Yeah. They were the last French colony in Africa.
You know your history. Plenty of French colonial families still live there. Billets noirs, they're called.
I've heard the term. The main character in that Camus novel, The Stranger, was one.
You also find a lot of Algerians who've immigrated to France, although they put a stop to that a while ago.
Yeah. A lot of European countries seem to be clamping down on immigration lately.
Mistral joined the Foreign Legion to get her citizenship.
A woman legionnaire?
And not the first. There was one that served in the North Africa campaign during World War II. Anyway, Mistral's been doing PMC work ever since her Legion discharge. We're not sure why she went cyborg. She's officially leading the force at the refinery, but she is also a combatant. I don't have anything on her combat style, but do not underestimate her. The Winds of Destruction are trained killers, all of them. They didn't let her in because of her looks.
I don't need a reminder. I won't let my guard down.
Yeah, but, speaking of her looks, she's got, well, I mean, a couple of huge... Look, just don't get distracted, okay?
Sounds like you should take your own advice there, Kev.
Right. You need to save?
Did you catch all that with Dolzaev and Mistral?
Yeah, I was monitoring the whole time. Dolzaev's not really what I expected. I've seen his file, plenty of photos, but I guess I expected someone more, I don't know, threatening?
Didn't seem too friendly to me.
No, I mean, you hear terrorist, you think of some cold, calculating professional. Dolzaev looks more like some guy off the street.
Cold, calculating professional types don't usually bother with terrorism. It's too risky. Most terrorists are ordinary people, radicalized one way or another.
Yeah, I guess so.
Of course, that doesn't make what they do any easier to forgive. What about Mistral? What'd you think?
Well, she's certainly attractive. Probably an artificial face, though. I'm guessing most of her is artificial.
Roger that.
Raiden, the Mistral woman. Is she truly a full-body cyborg?
That's what the intel says, at least. Why? You notice something?
Indeed. Two somethings, in fact. Based on their movements, her chest region did not appear to be artificial.
You can tell that just from what I saw?
Indeed. After some detailed image analysis, I am 80% certain that is her own natural torso. If it is indeed a cyborg chassis, it is the most advanced I've ever seen. Such technology would not come cheap. It would mean whoever is backing Desperado is likely quite wealthy.
Probably so. As far as Mistral goes, it really doesn't matter to me. Natural, synthetic, man, woman, an enemy is an enemy.
Ah, are you not even the least bit curious? Right. The cliff is just ahead at the end of the old city. Beyond that is the refinery's backyard.
So what? It's a sheer drop? The refinery's not connected to the city at all?
No, it was only built 2 years ago. There should be a narrow path around there that leads to the plant. It is protected by a fence, but probably you can cut your way through.
Probably.
Don't get cocky. Most likely it...
Watch out! They keep on coming!
Dolcev and his team must be in here. Find him. Raiden, wait. There are active IR sensors in the area. Part of factory security, no doubt, but the enemy may be using it.
Who actually owns this plant?
On the books, a private abkhaz firm. In reality, the Russian state.
So all the money goes right back to Russia?
It does provide Abkhazia with fuel and electricity. But yes, it was clearly built for Russian interests.
How do you mean?
The Caspian Sea is a major source of gas and oil. But these days, most of it never passes through Russia. Not since the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline was built. With it, the oil flows straight to Europe.
But that pipeline runs straight through Georgia. Why did the Georgian government allow it?
Money, of course, and power. Having a major pipeline run through your land brings plenty of both. The South Ossetia War taught Georgia they could not always rely on the West for support. They began working more with their neighbors in the region to build their own power base.
So Georgia stands to gain from this coup?
It would seem this way. Any scenario that ends with the refinery no longer under Russian control is good for Georgia. Even if they do not retake Abkhazia outright, they benefit if new regime is more friendly to Georgia. Perhaps this is Dolzaev's idea, to attract Abkhaz political leaders with a pro-Georgia agenda.
And that's why Georgia isn't taking action?
I very much doubt Georgian government would be involved in anything so obvious and so reckless. There must be someone else behind all this.
And Dolzaev's just playing along? Why would he?
Revenge, Tovarich. Anything to hurt Russia. Perhaps money as well, who knows?
Yeah, the Russians can't be happy about all this. Let me guess. They contacted you through the FSB, right?
There were conversations, yes. But it was the Abkhaz government that enlisted us. We only took this mission because we knew it would help the people there. Besides, we cannot leave Desperado unchecked. Not after what happened.
Right. I won't let them profit from this mess. And we need to learn who's backing them.
And the first step to do this is take back that refinery.
So, Kev, what exactly goes on here anyway? I mean, obviously refining oil. But what else involved with that? How careful do I need to be?
Skip that week in science class, huh? All right. How much do you know already?
Just the basics. They take crude and refine it into gas and stuff. Other usable fuels, right?
Well, yeah. And stuff. Kerosene, liquefied petroleum gas, naphtha, jet fuel.
Naphtha?
The raw material for ethylene, which is then the raw material for polyethylene and other plastics. Crude oil's used for a lot more than just fuel, you know. These days, it's the core component of just about every chemical product.
Okay.
Crude contains a lot of molecular hydrocarbons and impurities. The refinery distills and extracts these hydrocarbons at their different boiling points. Once the impurities are removed, what's left can be used to make gasoline and so on.
Right. So, pretty much exactly what I said in the first place.
Oh, well, if you know all this already, I guess we're done here.
I could use a bit more detail on...
All right, cool then. Kevin out.
So Mestral's from Algeria. Have you ever been?
No. You?
Once, for a consulting job. Pretty short trip, though.
I hear it's pretty safe there now, compared to how things were at the start of this decade.
Yeah, I was able to slip a little sightseeing in. Pretty nice spot for a vacation. Kind of hot, though. 80% of it's the Saharan desert, and wow, it was just like you'd imagine. So much sand. You could easily imagine camel caravans trekking beneath the early evening moon. It was like something from another world.
Yeah? I thought only a sixth of the Sahara was sandy like that. The French carried out a bunch of nuclear tests there too, I remember.
But once you reach the Mediterranean coast, it's a totally different place. All these white-walled buildings framed against intense blue sea. It's a really stark contrast.
Were you in Algiers? I know that the capital looks a lot like that.
Yep. The local cuisine's totally French-influenced. I'll never forget this one lunch near my hotel. A baguette sandwich and a café au lait. Simple and simply unforgettable. Oh, there were a bunch of sweet shops in town, too. High-quality European candy, but so cheap.
Sounds like you ate your way across the country.
Well, food's an important part of local culture, you know. Oh, and speaking of which, the seafood. I didn't expect to see Mediterranean fish in African cuisine, but it was also fresh and flavorful. They'd fry up small fish whole, then drizzle them with lemon juice. I could have eaten that all day.
Sounds like a lot of calories.
I tried to stay active, you know.
Hey, did you know my visual analyzers can tell me how much someone weighs?
Yeah, I'll have to talk with Doc about disabling that one.
How is your eye, Raiden?
Great. My sight's perfectly balanced between both eyes. I think my vision's improved, actually.
Quite right, quite right. Your eye patch houses an artificial compound eye unit. The unit contains over 200 million solid-state image sensors, each with its own individual lens.
200 megapixels, huh? Doesn't sound like all that much.
More than sufficient for the application. A human's optic nerve has only about 1 million fibers, you know. Were we to add more sensors, your perceived vision would not improve. There's only so much modern image compression technology can do.
Huh. So I shouldn't expect any more dramatic improvements to my eyesight?
No, your brain would no longer be able to process any more visual ACE units separately and simply installed it on a fixed eye patch.
Works for me. If I was using an eye unit, I wouldn't see any better than a regular human.
Ah, but remember, the human eye is so much more than a simple light receptor. They play a vital role in person-to-person communication. Sooner or later, you'd miss it.
Stuff like that's important for some tasks, sure. For this op, not so much. And with less moving parts, the lower the chance of something going wrong. Besides, I like it.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear this.
I can worry about how I look after I complete the mission.
I was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dosaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know. I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What is this talk about?
Je t'aime. De tout mon corps.
Je t'aime. Mister, you never...
She's not talking to you, idiots.
You killed her! You trial nuts!
Rich coming from you. It's over, Comando, Sahib. Surrender. Translation.
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for Abkhaz. It is their prison. But now, they will be free!
Damn! Crazy son of a bitch!
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up!
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.